The Middle Ground is a Star Wars podcast hosted by Max Opasek and Kevin Isaacs. All the media that is discussed in the podcast is owned by Lucasfilm and the Walt Disney Company. The boys' opinions are, well, you guessed it, simply just their opinions. So please tune in, relax, and McClunky.
He looks like a normal Gungan, right? Not Boss Man.
Well,
No. I mean, I wanted to.
do an opening.
No.
Oh.
Yeah. No. This is going to be a bit different from the episodes we've done so far, because we've mainly been doing reviews, but now we're going to be doing more of this in the future. But we're going to be talking about specific topics relating to Star Wars, different aspects of like the fandom or the movies. But this will be the first non-review episode, I guess. Basically, you could say.
Yeah, because we can't just record, just reviews of the movies and the TV shows, because there's still a lot happening.
Oh yeah.
'Cause from the time we're recording now, was it how many days ago the High Republic came out?
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
It came out yesterday.
It came out yesterday. So there's still a bunch of new Star Wars stuff coming down the pipeline.
Oh yeah.
Not like for the movies, but like TV shows and
Oh.
like lore stuff from the books too.
Yeah, just so much stuff coming out in 2021 and beyond. It's just nuts seeing all that stuff. So we're gonna have a lot of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, and
but
as much as I would like to discuss all these stuff and keep talking in the middle of a movie podcast, we'll do shorter videos here and there with other topics we want to cover. With today's topic, Kevin, take it away.
Yeah, we're gonna be talking about fan service in Star Wars, because this is a bit of a hot topic right now, because obviously Mandalorian Season 2 at the time of this recording is wrapped up by now, and there's been a lot of controversy surrounding certain I guess you could call them legacy characters coming in and out of the show.
Yes.
And people have been saying, oh, it's just fan service, oh, it's pandering. So
we're going to go ahead and give a spoiler alert right now.
Yes,
for the end of Mandalorian Season 2, because it's very important to what we're talking about today.
Yes, and I guess just as well as everything Star Wars up until the point of January, 5th, I suppose, everything before this date, because, fan service is something that's a little bit unique to Star Wars compared to, other properties, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's a longer series. It's 40 plus years, so you almost have to have a certain amount of fan service, to keep the old people interested and stuff. And I just wanted to discuss the different aspects of fan service, because a lot of movies, especially the newer ones, have been criticized for overuse of fan service.
Yes, and we'll discuss in the movies even when we come across them. We'll bring them back up then as well, but we're mainly going to be focusing on the fan service things today, and the fans too.
Yes.
Because the fan base is a very interesting fan base.
It's
but not only because it's Star Wars fans, because I think we all know Star Wars fans. We're Star Wars fans.
Yeah.
But there are some really bad Star Wars fans.
On both sides of the positivity and the negativity.
Yeah, I don't remember the guy's YouTube channel, but Kevin had sent me a video of a guy reacting to the High Republic trailer, and he was like, "This is feminist propaganda." And it's
and he never explained why he thought it was. It's okay to think that, but he never explained it and was just dismissing it, having not even read it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like he saw women in a Star Wars trailer and went, "Nah."
Yeah, it's literally what he thought.
Yeah,
it's just kind of sad.
There's another interesting thing about Star Wars now. How I argued before how it was made for kids.
Yeah,
but I think that's because of Disney. Now, because you have OG Star Wars fans, young and old, mainly older guys.
Yeah.
Who are guys and girls who are wanting to keep Star Wars, air quotes, whatever.
To
that
what they
means.
feel that it is, yeah.
And Disney, who are oh no, this is a franchise, and we're gonna make it a franchise and branch out and do all these other things.
Yeah.
And it's there's a bunch of people who support that, and they're part of the fan base too. But then you anytime anything Star Wars comes out that looks like Kathleen Kennedy dipped her pinky toe in it,
yeah,
the one side of the OG fans just hop on it and tear it apart.
I mean, I would say it's even more splintered than that. It's you have we always talk about having nuance, but like the entire fan base is just nuance. It's like, well, you have fans that are from the OT that hate the prequels, but they love the sequels, and you have the people that love the OT and the prequels, but they hate the sequels, and the people that only like the sequels, and people that like some of the prequel. You know what I mean? There's just so much. It's almost like the only other fan base I can compare it to is the Sonic the Hedgehog fan base, where no one can really agree as to what makes a good Sonic game.
Yeah, and like they're all like different movies, like completely different like experiences. Like I grew up watching the prequel trilogies because that's what was coming out when I was a kid,
right?
And I loved them. And I watched them as an adult, and I'm like, oh, they're not that great, but I still kind of like them.
Yeah,
like, and I feel the same about I love the original trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll talk about the
sequel. I don't want to spoil what we think about the sequels in full. I know we've already given some thoughts, but we're not the biggest sequel fans, though I would say I like them more than you do, probably.
For sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just there's some, like, when I get too distracted by some things in a movie, for instance, callbacks, which is another thing. I think The Rise of Skywalker, just like that's
too many. Yeah,
fan service.
We'll bring it back to fan service from the fans. So there is a certain degree of having to give the fans what they want with something that's this long running, so many different types of fans, so it makes sense. But with all this cry of fan service, I actually wanted to like look up what the actual definition of fan service was, and it's actually something related to anime. It's when they have a female character dress skimpy or sexualize her in service of trying to appeal to fans that find her attractive.
Yeah.
And I had no idea about that. I didn't know fan service turned into something.
Oh, yeah. It started as like, oh, we can't get enough traction. Everyone likes this female character. Let's put her in a bathing suit. Yeah. It's like, oh, okay. And I think it just kind of turned into a huge, like, worldwide term.
Yeah, it's sort of morphed into a term as, we should give our own definitions of what fan service means to us. But to me, fan service is when you put something in the movie or show or comic or whatever that is specifically there for fans. I mean, it sounds obvious, saying it out like that, but there's two types of fan service. There's good fan service and there's bad fan service. And bad fan service to me is when it's just there just to get like a, hey, look at this.
Wink.
yeah. Like, oh, or like wink, or like, oh, we know the fans are going to enjoy this, regardless of how it actually fits in everything, just put it in there. You know what I mean? So, and then there's good fan service, which is like feels natural. It makes sense for the character or the thing to happen, and it fits. But the fans still get like a, oh, cool, you know what I mean, sort of a boost out of it. What about you, though? Do you agree with that sentiment?
It depends.
Okay.
Because for me, there's not real like, oh, this fan service is good and this fan service is bad. But like, I like very subtle fan service. Like,
okay.
For instance, in the end of Mandalorian, when Luke came back, that's I think that's what probably started this whole idea for this video, was Luke coming back and seeing how divided people were on that.
Yeah, ripping open the old wounds.
Yeah.
Which is very disappointing.
Yeah, but that's Star Wars fans. That's all they do.
Yeah.
All we do. We're part of that.
Well, I mean, I'm not, moaning about... The only thing I don't like about that is the look. But actually, Luke coming back... You see, I would say that that's good fan service, because it makes sense for him to be there, because Grogu contacted Jedi. It really could only be him or Ezra.
Yeah. Because
we don't know where Cal is, or if he's even alive. And, I mean, Ahsoka, one, technically isn't a Jedi, two, rejected, having him. So... It makes enough sense.
I felt like, okay, it makes sense to have Luke.
Yeah.
But it was definitely like ham-fisted, like, this is Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, they definitely gave him his moment, which is why I think some people were like, oh, they redeemed Luke, he's finally back. You know what I mean? Gave him like this badass Vader-esque hallway scene. Which, I still think it works, though. It wasn't like...
Yeah.
It could have been, I guess like you said, a bit more subtle. He could have like just... they really drew attention to it, I guess.
Yeah, like
they made sure you saw Luke slice down every Dark Trooper.
Mm-hmm. And it's at that point I was like, okay, this isn't Luke Skywalker's show, though.
Yeah.
Like, I understand, like, to have Luke come back is a pretty big thing, but we had him come back in The Last Jedi.
Well, yeah.
And, like, his story was over at that point.
And not only that, this is mainly focused on, like, The Mandalorian. If you're only watching The Mandalorian, it's like, who is this guy? Why are they giving him, so much... And look, I get... I mean, who's going to be watching Star Wars doesn't know who Luke Skywalker is. Well, like, I get that.
Okay, let's talk about Ahsoka then.
Okay,
is that fan service?
You see, I feel because like that's natural.
I guarantee anyone who hasn't seen Clone Wars doesn't know who the hell Ahsoka was.
But, you see, my mom, when she watched it, she was like... She did say, like, am I supposed to know who this is? And I said, not in, like, the context of the show. But she still was like, she liked her. She thought it was cool.
Yeah.
But again, I think that worked because it's like, go find a Jedi... finds Ahsoka, it wasn't, super pandering or anything like that, and it made sense. There was story context. She was actually able to communicate with Grogu, and you actually learned things about him through
his
her.
Name was Grogu.
Yeah, the name. He was at the Jedi Temple. How he survived, and it was, there was a lot to be gained from that. On top of actually being a fan favorite character coming back, and
I didn't think it was fan service, by the way.
No, I think it like borders on it because Dave Filoni loves Ahsoka. I mean, that's his character. I don't blame him.
Yeah, but like the whole point is like I was watching it with our other friends, and they were like, "Who is that?" And I was like,
"Oh, really?
Yeah."
Okay.
Like they're like, "Who is that?" And I was like, it's
okay.
They're from Clone Wars. Like it's from a TV series, and some people will say like, "Oh, well, if I have to watch a TV series to understand what a character's from, like."
Yeah, well,
but Ahsoka doesn't matter.
Well, that's the thing. In the show, I feel like they give you enough context as to who the character is, because in the show, it's not supposed to be, oh, it's Ahsoka. As fans, we say that, but in the reality of The Mandalorian, it's just supposed to be another Jedi.
Yeah,
you could watch that. I feel like without, like you said, without having seen.
Yeah, all you need to know is she's a Jedi.
Yeah, she got lightsabers. She's Ahsoka.
Yeah. I guess the white lightsabers are kind of like people be like, "What's with that?" And you'd be like,
Well, I mean, that's something that's in a book. They don't even talk about that in the TV shows. But I mean,
I thought they talked about it in Rebels.
She just had them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just something she has. It's like Rey at the end of Rise of Skywalker. It's like, why does she have a gold lightsaber? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Another thing okay, you brought this up earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Is Boba Fett's seismic charge.
Oh, yeah, just something subtle. We're going to talk about Mando Season 2 first, by the way. We'll get into other stuff later, but...
Yeah. We're going to go through Mandalorian, because I think from what episode did they go back to Tatooine? Was that 1 or 2?
That was the very first episode. He goes back to Tatooine. That's like a degree... That's like a deep cut fan service thing, though, because unless you've read... Aftermath, I don't know if that really qualifies as fan service, because I mean, it's supposed to be like a nod to the fans, but I don't know how many fans have actually read the book, you know what I mean, or know who that character was before that.
Well, Cobb Vanth, I didn't know who he was.
Okay.
I didn't even know it was Boba Fett's armor that he had on. I just knew it was Mandalorian. I'm like, because I remember I texted you, I was like, was that Boba Fett's armor?
Okay.
I was like, I'm not sure. So I was like, okay, if it is Boba Fett's armor, that's like a really obscure fan service thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter.
Mm-hmm.
It has a purpose. But just the fact that they're on Tatooine, like...
Oh, yeah.
Like, I think Tatooine at this point, I don't think it's even fan service anymore. I think it's just like default factory setting.
Yeah, I mean,
planet.
I would say that the Tatooine episode in the first season is way more fan servicey than the one in this, because... It's like, oh, where does he go? He goes to Docking Bay 94. Oh, he meets Tusken Raiders. You know what I mean? All that kind of stuff. And the fact that it was Tatooine in the first place. And it's just so... Oh, there's pit droids and stuff like that. But I don't know if that's fan service. You know what I mean? I feel like if it's natural to be there, then it doesn't really, count.
Yeah. So, like natural fan service in Mandalorian Season 2 moment. Boba Fett's armor.
Yeah.
For instance, like, I didn't even know it was Boba Fett's armor, but it has the dent in the helmet.
Yeah.
Like, it looks kind of different. I mean, it looks even different later on when Boba Fett puts it back on.
Yeah.
It looks like different armor,
Mm-hmm.
But, everyone knows who Boba Fett is.
That's true. Well, so I would say his appearance at the very end was fan service, like a little wink and nod, like, "Oh, look, Boba Fett's alive."
Him on like the mountain looking down.
Yeah, until he came back later, and then it became more of a part of the story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I didn't think
that
it
was
coming
foreshadowing.
back.
It turned into foreshadowing instead of just fan service.
Yeah, because that was, you get the actor back, you have him just stand there for a scene, be like, oh, look, it's Boba Fett, and then, cut. Yeah. That episode, though, actually had more fan service, or like, I don't know if it, because that's the thing, is like, our callbacks and references technically fan service, because they had a crate dragon, and there's a crate dragon pearl in its stomach. That's a side quest from Knights of the Old Republic. Even the crate dragon being in the cave is from Knights of the Old Republic. So, and that's like a video game from 2003, and it's like, who...
I didn't even know that.
No. I mean, that's what... That's like...
Was it like a Dave Filoni thing he did?
It might have been. I'm not sure. But crate dragon, there's like a skeleton in A New Hope. It's not just from Knights of the Old Republic. I don't want people yelling at us. But it's like... I don't know if that really constitutes, you know what I mean? Because crate dragons are on Tatooine. I guess just the fact of showing it, maybe. And again, Anakin's pod racer, his engine was like, but that's so subtle. I wasn't actually sure if that was Anakin's pod racer, you know?
I think even having a pod racer on there is like, it's cool, but like, why is this the only time that we're ever seeing this? And they've been to Tatooine a million times, like. I
guess.
So it's like pod racing makes sense. People would probably use pods all the time, right? No, pods are dangerous.
Yeah.
I always thought like pod racing was like a dangerous thing.
Yeah, it is.
You're strapping a pod to a ship engine.
Yeah.
And they just, Cobb Vanth's like, oh, I found this pod and I strapped the seat to it.
Yeah.
A lot safer that way.
The only other thing I can think of in Mando season 2 that's like it was what actually ignited stuff leading up to Luke was Bo-Katan, because again, it makes sense for her to be there. I'd say that's good fan service, because fans, we watch Clone Wars, we watch Rebels, we know who Bo-Katan is. But it makes sense if there's a Mandalorian looking for other Mandalorians, she's alive, why wouldn't he, find her? And she's tied with the Darksaber, which we know Moff Gideon has. So it makes sense for her to be there, and she actually, again, she's not just there. It's not like, oh, Bo-Katan, and she flies away,
Yeah.
It's not just like a little wink and nod.
She's like, I have a mission. I have things I'm doing. And I like that about the Mandalorian. They didn't really tell you what she was doing outright. She's like, I have a mission. He's not like, what is it? And she's like, long ago. And and it's like, oh, okay, all right, get on. I think the best fan service I can recall from, at least just from The Mandalorian, is from the first season when they have a flashback to his, like the super battle droids.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was a great scene, because, like, they didn't have to put super battle droids, but they're in there for, like, maybe a few minutes and then they're gone.
Yeah, and it makes sense, because he would, as a kid, there would have been, it was Clone Wars.
Yeah, there would have been droids.
I'd say my favorite reference is in that scene, too, and it's subtle. If you're not looking, you're going to miss it, but on the one of the Mandalorians that captures him, it's got a little Death Watch symbol on the shoulder. And again, if you don't know who Death Watch is, it's fine, but you look at it and it's like, oh, cool, Death Watch. And again, it makes sense because they were the Mandalorians operating at the time. Now I think that might have been a sect called Children of the Watch or something like that. I don't know. But I think Mandalorian, the exception of the 5th episode of the first season, does fan service pretty well. Again, not beating you over the head. Everything's got a purpose. It either comes back later or it just works.
Yes, but bad fan service.
Whoa! Before we get into that, you want to talk about seismic charge?
Okay,
that's a very small thing. I don't want to go on it for too long.
I felt like I don't hate it. I just felt like seismic charge was like a bonus scene.
Yeah,
because it makes no sense in the act. I feel like they could have taken that whole scene out and it would have been like them
he
just
flies
flying
away. Yeah,
yeah. But like, I saw it and I was like, nice.
Yeah, that's something for the fans. Like,
it was
definitely.
Like, you could say it was a fan servicey thing, but like, there wasn't any consequences because of it. Like,
yeah,
it was like here's seismic charge, boop.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I remember before that episode happened, and we saw Slave One. I remember talking, I think just about everybody. I'm like, oh man, she better have some seismic charges on that ship. And I'm just like, then it actually happened. I'm like, oh man. But it's like, I know, it was just like the fact that it was like 2 TIE fighters, and it's like you really could have just like swung the ship around or something. But that is fan service to me.
Yeah,
it's like because fans know that, fans love that. We've only seen that in one movie, and everyone was like, "Oh, dude, those are so cool." But by the way, I love the memes where they replace it with a fart sound effect.
Oh my! I think I sent you one.
Those are good. But anyway, bad fan service, Max.
Talk about bad fan service. And Star Wars has a lot of bad fan service.
None in the original trilogy, though. That's the one thing I gotta say is because there was no need for it. There was nothing you really could do that would be fan servicey. The original trilogy
was played very straight.
It's a bit more pure with not really fans in mind, you know?
Yeah.
They were just telling their story.
Yeah, even the prequel trilogy, like I wouldn't even say much there. Like, what would you say is fan service, like with the prequels?
I think what George Lucas tried to do fan service wise was Anakin making C-3PO. And that's bad because C-3PO doesn't need to be there, other than the fact that he wanted R2-D2 and C-3PO to be in all the main movies.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like if you remove C-3PO, you're really missing nothing other than like the first meeting with R2 and 3PO, which you could do in like another movie, or you could even have C-3PO be at the Senate and be a Senate droid because he's going to be in Padme's service anyway. Have him be on the ship. Something, you know what I mean? Just there's no reason for Anakin, but he's like, oh, isn't it cool that Anakin built Darth Vader? He technically did. And Anakin built C-3PO. Isn't that neat? He's like giving something to the fans he thought was cool, and it's like, I don't know. That's the only thing I can really think of as glaringly bad fan service. Because everything else in Revenge of the Sith feels not Revenge of the Sith. Well, I mean, yes, Revenge of the Sith, but the prequels feel natural.
Yeah, because it's more they have to do a lot of foreshadowing. So stuff that would be viewed, I think, as fan service is more like, oh, this makes sense because it ties into what's happening in like 4, 5, and 6.
Right. Like I think of the ending with Obi-Wan giving Luke to there, and it's like at the homestead, and it's like it makes sense.
It has a purpose.
Yes. Exactly.
But I'm gonna go to probably one of the I want to go to one of the worst movies for fan service, and it's Rogue One, baby.
That was another reason I wanted to do this episode.
Rogue One is a blaring like fan service.
I think the movie is fan service.
It was made with the idea of like, I feel like just like cashing in on that original trilogy hype.
Yes,
that people want.
And let's give the fans something cool, which is there's nothing wrong with that, but it's like even the story itself, I've heard people say, is like fan service. It's like we don't need to know how the rebels stole the Death Star plans. It's like
who cares? I don't care how they got the Death Star plans. I care that they blew it up.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
it's one of those things. I feel like they're like, oh, what can we do? It's like Death Star.
Yeah, they blow up they get the Death Star plans, but that and like some of the action and. It's like 50 million TIE fighters. Oh, we got AT-ATs.
They have literal like video game Easter eggs in that movie.
Yeah.
They have the bar guy from
Okay,
4.
Let's start with I'm going to say it. This is the worst fan service moment in Star Wars so far. Because it is like ticks off all the boxes for it being bad. Go ahead and explain what it is.
It's so flashback to episode 4 when Luke and Obi-Wan, Ben Kenobi at the time, go to the bar at Mos Eisley Cantina, and the pig-nosed guy is like, he doesn't like you, and he goes, I don't like you either. I'm gonna fucking kill you, and then he threatens to like kill Luke or something.
Yeah, and Luke's like, get away from me.
Yeah, and then Ben Kenobi cuts off his buddy's arm.
He cuts off the hand, it's the whole arm, isn't it? Yeah, the arm of Ponda Baba, which is the stupidest name of all time.
But in Rogue One, what planet are they on?
They're on Jeddah.
So they're on Jeddah, and our main character, Squigoku, was walking through the streets. Jin. No, Jin. It was the dude.
Cassian?
Yeah, sure.
Jin and Cassian.
Jin and Cassian.
Yeah. So, you really like that movie, eh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen it so many times.
Yeah.
They walk by Ponda Boo Boo, and he goes, what does he say?
I think it's literally, I don't even know what he says.
Hey, watch it.
Yeah, something like that. And then they're gone.
Yeah, and it's like, Oh, the okay.
It's literally it's the wink wink nudge nudge. Hey, you know who this is. I don't know anyone that wouldn't know, even a general audience. It's like clearly those are the guys from the cantina. Second of all, this takes place like right before A New Hope, and they're on a city that explodes. So it's like it's stupid for them to be there. One, it's then again, it's really stupid for them to be like because they had to leave pretty much immediately.
Yeah.
As soon as that scene happens, they have to be off on a ship somewhere.
Well, you didn't hear the extended scene. Is after Ponto Pop, they walked away. He went. Hey man, don't worry about it. We gotta get going. Our ship's about to leave.
Yeah.
He's like, don't even go back and talk to him. So
Tell you what,
go.
we'll go get a drink. Yeah, some stupid
Yeah.
crap like that. But then it's like if you remove that, you're not missing anything.
Yeah.
Who was asking for these characters to come back? As like oh my god, it's so bad, so out of place, so poorly done.
Yeah, but like
in
I
a
feel
movie
like
where fan service is just everywhere.
I was gonna say, I feel like maybe it's quick enough where you can just like shake your head and try and give yourself amnesia to forget about it. But at the end of the movie, when the actual like battle for the space battle, I'll say when the space battle starts for the actual plans over what's the planet?
Scarif.
There's so many planets, dude.
Yeah, I know the main ones, I guess.
Yeah. And like CGI Tarkin shows up.
Oh, well, he was in the whole movie.
True.
You want to talk about Grandma? Okay,
but I wanted to go to like basically, even the Mount Calamari captain. That's Admiral Akbar. Like,
well, okay, that's something I could excuse because it's like, it makes enough sense. It's not like he is an Akbar, and it's not. Thank God it wasn't Admiral Akbar. That's at least different enough to where I'm like, okay, there's plenty of Mon Calamari in the rebellion. Yeah. That's fine. My thing is like when they're reusing the old footage of A New Hope at the end battle for like a red leader standing by gold leader, and it's like the old 70s footage like superimposed over everything. Yeah. I'm like, is that fan service? Did they need to do that?
I just feel like that's either fan service or lazy. It's like,
well, someone in the theater laughed when that came up. Like on my very first screening, opening night, someone laughed when they saw them. I'm like, I don't blame you. Oh, but like going back to Tarkin, he looks like garbage, by the way. But we'll get into that when we talk about the movie. He's the garbage isn't fan service. But it makes sense for him to be there, I guess, because he is in charge technically of the Death Star at that time. I mean, this movie shows how he gets command of it, but just like with how much he's in it, I guess, you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
It's just sort of like, did he really need to be there? But I think the more, I don't know how to say it.
Well, the more pressing issue I had with that entire ending sequence was the end with Vader and then Princess Leia.
Yeah.
Because the Darth Vader scene was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But like, that's it.
Yeah, and it doesn't really mesh well with the beginning of A New Hope. It's like, well, why isn't he just, fucking running down the corridor of the Tantive, like looking for Princess Leia, like whipping the lightsaber around? It's like, I get it. That was awesome. I remember seeing that opening night and being like so pumped up by that scene. I'm like, that's incredible.
When he has the guy on the ceiling and just goes,
yeah, with the lightsaber. Yeah, I know that was cool, and that is something where it's like for the fans that love Darth Vader, and Star Wars fans love that scene.
Yeah,
but then again,
it just doesn't fit. It doesn't fit in. First of all, like we just witnessed every single main character of our cast die, and then we got to go, whoa, sick!
I think it would have been better if you just had Vader on the bridge being like, because I really like that
Chase
scene.
Down that cruiser.
Yeah, because like I feel like you could edit it because they have the what is it? The plans being transmitted up to the ship. I feel like you could re-edit that because it is really frantic. They're like, okay, come on. Have them run down there and then be like, like launch. Just have the scene be them like frantically running while the ship's like exploding or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then they detach and whatever. And then you have Vader on the ship being like, pursue that ship, Yeah. Just have that. But the Princess Leia thing is like, I don't mind it. I just think it looks bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just looks. Did you really need to like show her face?
It's
like...
not. It's not so much. Yeah, exactly. It's like you could have just had like a silhouette of like her like putting it in R2 or something. And
or just have her. People know what that is. It's like it's like obvious. The only other thing I can think of that's bad fan service in the movie, because I do want to mention like 2 or 3 good fan services in that, because it's not completely bad. Is the C-3PO and R2-D2 scene, which doesn't it bugs some people. It doesn't bug me when they're like, Scarif, they're going to Scarif, and then you're like, woo, 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 which is like, fine, they're on the Rebel base, and it's like, at that point every movie had C-3PO and R2-D2, whatever. But then I'm thinking, like, why not just have them on the ship at the end if you want their cameo? Because they're there at the beginning of the next movie anyway. The camera's panning around. Just show them. They don't even need to say a line.
It's lazy fan service.
Yes, yeah.
It's like
make sure you know that that's C-3PO.
Yeah. It's like, is he at this point in the story, in the canon? I don't know, but he's there now.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh well, I don't know. Like you said, it wouldn't make sense like for them like the what's his name, Ponda Boba, to be on like the exploded city and like be in Tatooine the next episode.
Yeah, it's like but just really quick, good fan service from that. The references to Rebels are good because you see the ghost a couple times and it's subtle.
Yeah,
true. It's not obvious. There's a message overhead that says like General Syndulla report to blah blah blah. And I remember in the theater I was like, oh cool, that's Hera.
Yeah, that is cool.
Then the another one was Chopper. He just goes by the camera at one point. It's like again, yeah. They're like subtle. You're not really gonna like It's not like ghost standing by or whatever. Like
when they put the ghost in Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
Right behind the Millennium Falcon. Yeah. I remember I saw it. I was like, you already did that.
Yeah.
You've already done this. Like, this is the same Easter egg.
Yeah. How old would Hera be? If that is her flying that, I guess. It's got to be her.
How old is she in Rebels?
Got to be like mid-20s, right?
I mean,
late 20s.
She's hot. She's definitely like at least 24, 25. I would say like probably now in her 30s.
She's no younger than 20. Like absolutely not. Because I mean, she and Kanan are going out. You'd think they'd be the same age.
Kanan looks like he's a 30-year-old neckbeard at first with his ponytail.
Yeah. Anyway,
I like Kanan,
just there's some other things I wanted to say. Like I remember people said Force Awakens had a ton of fan service, and it's like. You also got to think about fan service as something that the fans want to see. Fans want to see Darth Vader running down the hallway murdering people. Fans want to see, the ghost because they watch the show, that type of thing. But like, do people really want to see like Han Solo and Chewbacca re-enter the Millennium Falcon after losing it? Like, I don't know. I think about that. Do they really want to see?
Yeah, it was like I wasn't waiting all these years for Han to finally get back in the
Millennium exactly.
Falcon.
Yeah,
it was like I just found out he lost it, and now he's got it back.
Exactly, because I feel like these are more like audience cheer moments.
Yeah, it's like the Chewie we're home moment. I always like that. I was like, it almost makes me cringe. It's like because then he talks about it like, oh yeah, I just gave it away on a bet, and now we're back.
Yeah.
It's like he doesn't give a shit
the
about
way
it.
It's like structured is to get audience reaction. So instead of having everyone together at the beginning, it's like, well, Luke's gone, but then you meet Han and Chewbacca, and then you meet Leia, and then you meet C-3PO. You know what I mean? Instead of them all naturally being together, you have to like reintroduce every single one of them, and I guess that's what qualifies as a fan service. But in that movie, other than like Finn holding up the orb and then playing the chess game and maybe some like minor callbacks, I can't really think of anything that's like, oh, fans have been waiting to see.
Yeah, and like those
Poe.
things, those things were kind of like, all right, like we've seen him play chess a billion times. Like,
yeah, no, it's getting old at this point. Like,
yeah, but like,
and then go ahead. Did you have anything else to say about Force Awakens?
No, not the Force Awakens.
The Rise of Skywalker. I remember before that came out, people were saying, "Oh man, there's so much fan service in that movie, so much fan service." I don't think it was fan service. I think what they meant was retcons because of the fan reaction to The Last Jedi. I don't think any fan was like, oh, yeah, Palpatine made Snoke, or like, oh, Palpatine's back. It's like, well, I mean, I was a little bit, but like,
but that was like fan pleasing. They were just trying to
appease them. Yeah, they're trying to bring them back.
Yeah, they're like, no, sorry.
Yeah, and then they had like Luke catch the lightsaber and be like, the Jedi's weapon deserves more respect. It's like, That's the thing people debate is, like, if that is a direct, like, not contradiction, but, like, you know, something against The Last Jedi. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know how you can...
Dude,
like, oh, it's his character arc. I'm
the
like,
entire ninth movie is a, like,
undoing of it? Yeah.
Yeah. Which they just... I mean, can you blame them?
Yeah.
They wrote themselves into a corner, and he was like, best way to go was up.
Yeah. Would you... I know I already asked you, but I'm not... I forgot what you said. Would you say callbacks are fan service? Because there are callbacks... There's a callback in The Force Awakens that I thought was, like, on the nose, where it's like... Leia says something about, like, when have you ever helped out? And don't say the Death Star or something like that. And it's like, oh, remember the Death Star type thing?
Yeah, it's like, how often do you normally say that in a conversation?
Yes. And then I want to contrast that with, like, early Clone Wars, especially Season 1, maybe 2. So many, like, either shot references or, like, little bits of dialogue that aren't, like, beating you over the head with a reference to the original trilogy, but it's there. You know, I mean, just go and rewatch it, and, like, you like, notice, like, certain lines. Like, I think of the Malevolence one, they do, like, you know, like, red whatever standing by type thing, or, like, it'd be like, I think they had, like, a, you know, when Han's, like, boring conversation anyway, I think someone referenced that in one of the episodes when they shut off a communication. It's like, it's just subtle, you know what I mean? It's not, like, super overt.
Yeah, I don't mind that. Because, you know, they've been doing that since, when did they mention Clone Wars in the original trilogy?
A New Hope.
Yeah.
You always ask that.
Well, yeah, because I forget. But, like, exactly, like, that was a callback, kind of. I mean, it is now, but
yeah,
at the time it wasn't. But they don't really bother me that much because they're not super in your face. Like, just like a mention of something.
Mm-hmm.
Unless they were, like, you know, go on about it. It's like, okay, we get it. Like,
yeah, they're not, like, quoting it verbatim.
Yeah.
The thing about fan service is, again, it's like you kind of have to put it in there, you know.
Yeah.
You don't. Again, it just, to varying degrees. I just think Rogue One, if there's, like, a spectrum, Rogue One is on the far end of the bad side, like the very end, and then Mando Season 2 would probably be at, like, the right now golden standard for doing fan service, because it all feels natural, with the exception of Tatooine. And then with Rogue One, it just feels unnatural.
Yeah. So I feel like you can't really do Star Wars without fan service, though. Like,
yeah,
like if you, for instance,
that's what I'm saying,
like if you were to make, like, a farm game, like a Tatooine moisture farmer game,
mm-hmm.
but it had no Jedi, no Rebels, no Empire, almost no Star Wars stuff except for, like, I don't know, you're just like a farmer on Naboo, like you herd cattle. Like, nobody would play that.
Oh, you know, there'd be people out
there. There would be people who would see the trailer and burst into tears.
Yeah.
But that's, you know, you're gonna find that for anything.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, if you added, like, a Jedi into the game, be like, oh, is it fan service or does that make it Star Wars?
I think adding a random Jedi
would
not make it fan service. I think adding in Obi-Wan, Anakin, Rey, you know, named people would make it fan service. Again, it's got to be something that the fans would want. And it's like, if it feels natural and the fans want it, then it's good. If it's unnatural, and I mean, even if the fans still want it and it's unnatural, I'd still say that's bad. That's the conclusion I'm going to come to.
What's like a...
Okay, so I guess maybe the Vader scene, because I like that scene. I just think it's a little out of place. And I feel like if you removed it, it would be a better ending if you just streamlined it to the Rebels getting the plans and, you know, running down the hallway. So, like, for me, I guess a good example would be would be Ahsoka, as we talked about, because it makes sense. It's actually adding to the story. And there's nothing really bad about it. She even name drops Thrawn, which again will lead into, like, a show, but it's like a cool reference.
Say, like, nobody would probably know who Thrawn is watching it by itself, but, like, oh, I get it. Then she, like, who cares? Like, in the context of the show, who cares what she's gonna do?
Yeah.
Like, like we got what we wanted from the from talking to her in this in the I can't think of the word.
The episode?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever.
The story.
Within the episode, like she mentions Thrawn and then goes off and does her own thing. It's like, great. That's fine. That's just like a callback, right?
Yeah.
That'd be considered a callback.
I mean, it's like a name drop to something the fans would know. But again, that's like, you don't need to know anything about Thrawn or whatever. I mean, you can ask, people or look it up. But
he's a dude who's missing and she's looking for him.
Yeah, exactly. That's all it needs to be. So I think that's a really good example. And then in the next episode, she's gone. She's not mentioned at all.
Yeah, which I was pretty happy about.
Yeah,
like because they bring back characters a lot in this season, which is fine. It's like their own characters. Like,
yeah,
they don't bring back Ahsoka all the time or Bo-Katan all the time. They come back, but it feels natural in the story.
Mm-hmm.
Same with, well, would you say the same with Boba?
He feels natural because he is, I guess, technically now a Mandalorian.
And he wasn't before, right?
This is new.
Yeah.
Jango was partially Mandalorian in the old canon, but George Lucas never liked that idea, so they were sort of like, half and half with what was and wasn't canon. But now he is officially like Mandalorian, I guess, that turned into a bounty hunter, much like Din. But just really quick, and then I wanted to get your best and worst. I guess worst probably is just the Ponda Baba scene, because it literally adds nothing. It's so overt, like no one misses it. It's like it's very obvious. It's just sort of like annoying,
Yeah.
What about you?
For the best?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go best then worst.
Best then worst. Because I know my worst. I know my worst for easily, but honestly, would you say the Darksaber being involved at the end of last season? Well, it wouldn't be fan service now because it pertains to the story.
Yeah, like at the time, yeah, because that was like if you've watched Clone Wars, you know what that lightsaber means.
Yeah, and like anyone else would be like, oh, that's just a cutting thing. He just cut out of it could be a lightsaber.
Or a lightsaber, yeah.
And like I'm like, that's cool. That made me really excited. I really liked that moment.
And also, that's like directly involved with Mandalore. Yeah. So it has a reason for him, it's not a just random lightsaber.
Yeah, but at watching the show, I not once thought about the Darksaber. I didn't think it was going to show up. Like,
oh yeah,
I thought like if they
first season, yeah,
I thought like if they do Mandalorian stuff, which second season they did. I'm speaking as if I've only seen the first season.
Yes,
so like at the end of the first season, I was like, ooh, Mandalorian stuff. I was like, this is nice. Like, I'm excited for that. That's probably my favorite. I mean, I wouldn't. It'd change now, because obviously they expanded on it and it's not fan service anymore. But I wouldn't know what it would be now.
Yeah.
That's the thing. But
you know what? Really, I don't want to interrupt you, but really quick, I just thought of something. In regards to Darth Vader in Rogue One, I think both of his scenes, that when he talks to Krennic and the lightsaber scene, is like, if you are only watching Rogue One, because it is supposed to be like a quote-unquote self-contained story.
Yeah.
Who is this guy? What is he? What is his relation to the Empire, to the Emperor? It relies on you being a fan and knowing who that is. And I mean, again, it's Darth Vader. Everyone knows him. He's one of the most famous villains in movie history. Like, of course they know who he is. But again, just relation to only seeing that,
It's like, why does Darth Vader have any say over what Krennic does?
Why
is he on a lava planet in a giant castle?
Yeah, but anyway, your worst?
Chewie, we're home.
Okay. That's worse than Ponda Baba to you?
Well, Ponda Baba I can forget about.
Okay.
I can move on from that.
But yeah, I guess Chewie We're Home is actually ingrained into the story.
Even as it goes on, it's like, how long was he off the Falcon for?
I don't know when he lost that.
It didn't seem like very long. Would he lose it like in a bet or something?
I know someone stole it from him.
Someone stole it.
Which is even more humiliating.
Which also, I don't like that. I don't like how someone just stole the Falcon.
Yeah, they never really explain.
A story for another time.
Oh, God. Hang on, I'm trying to find it. That's from 2016. They're not going to have an answer. There probably isn't. There probably isn't just a certain amount of time because they don't want to commit to, you know.
But regardless, like, that scene, like, I can hear the music in my head. The music's supposed to, like, swell and make you feel like, Han's finally home. It's like,
yeah.
When did he leave? I thought he was always home. Like, when I saw the Falcon there, I was like, is Han there too? It's like, oh no, where is he?
Yeah.
And then, like, you learn, like, oh, they haven't been on it for a while after the emotional scene is over. And it's like, oh, like, I don't care. Like, I really like Han Solo, but it's like, I don't care that, you know.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Chewie, we're home.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't, like, this isn't your story, dude. Get out of the way.
Yeah, well, it kind of should be, but anyway, that's a discussion for whenever we get to that. Yeah, that's all I have to say. I guess the conclusion I'm coming to is that good fan service can enhance the story and, like, give the fans something to get excited about, something to look forward to. A little, it's like a reward for, like, keeping up with everything, you know. Like, I was excited to see the Ghost because I had been watching up, you know, keeping up with Rebels at that point.
Yeah.
And, like, seeing Ahsoka, I mean, we grew up with that character. That was
and,
really cool to see her.
It's cool, like, to watch Mandalorian now and see Ahsoka and be like, oh, dude, that's Ahsoka. And everyone be like, who's Ahsoka?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's kind of cool to be like, that's, like, we know who that is. But, like, bad fan service can just come off as, like, a cheap way to get a reaction or just make it stand out and be like, you know, like they're trying to get your attention type deal, and it's just, I don't know.
I feel
doesn't
like
work.
I'm a little nervous going forward to we were talking about before we started recording the Obi-Wan show, because, like, we both love Obi-Wan.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like there's not much you can do story-wise. Like, give a very open plate. Like, is there any like book or anything with Obi-Wan after episode 3?
Yeah, there's in the main the old, not old, how am I gonna say, there's 2 different main Star Wars comic series right now. The first one ended, but in that first one, Luke finds Obi-Wan's journal from his time on Tatooine, and when he was looking over him, and there's a few stories about his adventures set in there, and they're pretty good. But yeah, it's just basically, like, you know, him getting water to a village and fighting Tusken Raiders and stuff, and Uncle Owen learning to hate him.
That is good TV.
No, it's actually pretty good, but
but I feel like, you know, they could very easily be like, let's go to Coruscant and do all this stuff, or, like, you know, like, just plug fan service as hard as you want into it, because Obi-Wan is such like, he's iconic.
Yeah.
Like, he's iconic up there with, I think, more so with the fans because of, like, Clone Wars and stuff.
Yeah. I'd say Alec Guinness's Obi-Wan, even though I like Ewan's more, I'd say his is more iconic.
Ben Kenobi?
Yeah, just because that was the first one.
Oh, yeah. And his voice.
Yeah. He's, like, the quintessential old wise master.
Oh, yes. My name is Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
I've been here. I can scream like a banshee and scare away Tusken Raiders.
But yeah, just the fact that he might fight Darth Vader, and the sole reason for that being like, it's what fans want to see.
We didn't talk about Hayden Christensen
coming back.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's fan service though.
I don't think. I mean,
depends on how they do it. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, they said he'd be in, like, what, 4 episodes or something.
I think there's 4 episodes of the show, 4 or 6 or something. It's going to be a shorter mini-series.
I didn't know that it was going to be short.
But... Yeah, the whole series is going to be 4 episodes.
Oh, that changes everything.
Does it? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like...
because you can have, like, I don't know, an hour and a half long episode of him doing, like, a whole adventure. Because
that's true, like a little movie.
Because in my head, it was like a Mandalorian type show, like. What kind of adventures is Obi-Wan going to go on? But this is, I feel like this is a better choice to do, like, 4 episodes.
Yeah.
You can just, like, do one whole episode focusing on, like, I don't know, like you were saying, Obi-Wan might have, like, PTSD or something from
the war and Anakin and everything.
The war, Anakin losing every single other Jedi that he knows.
Yeah.
Like,
and he's stuck out in a desert. I mean, all he has to do is reflect. He might as well have PTSD.
Yeah. Oh, I'm excited.
Yeah. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see with how they incorporate Hayden in the fight and everything. But It could be great.
The only fan service I'll accept in Obi-Wan is if Hondo comes back. Dude, I really like Hondo. I would like that a lot.
Especially in Rebels, right?